Before The Expanse Season 5 even aired its first trailer, my expectations were sky high. Season 4 ended on a cliffhanger, and I had heard nothing but good things about Nemesis Games, the book it adapts. Dominique Tipper, aka Naomi Nagata, even called the season their Infinity War. So when the trailer finally dropped, it drove those expectations right through the ring gates. Whoa, that was an amazing shot. What is that anyway? Oh my god. Now that the season is over, was it everything I ever wanted? I had a dream, got everything I wanted. Well, in this review of Season 5, I, your humble host Eric, will break it all down and try to answer why I might have expected more from this season. The first part will be spoiler-free before diving into specifics, so you don't have to worry if you haven't finished the season yet. And at the very end, I'll talk about the series' trajectory as it heads into its 6th, and sadly, last season. So strap yourselves in, because I'm about to fire up this video's Epstein drive. You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to turn my room into a planetarium. And now at 26 years old, I finally have succeeded. I believe the kids call that manifesting. Oh, also, this is just cranberry juice. I need something to drink while I get through this. What are we here to talk about again? Oh yeah, The Expanse Season 5. Part 1, a spoiler-free Jubilee. I explained in my trailer reaction why Amazon decided to release weekly episodes of Season 5 instead of dropping the whole season on the same date. Watch it for a refresher, but to sum it up, weekly releases create more social media hype and, in theory, more money. Jeff Bezos could always use more, said no one. However, the first 3 episodes, Exodus, Churn, and Mother, premiered at the same time before reverting to the weekly format. I thought those episodes felt like a trilogy and set the stage beautifully before the main event in the 4th episode, Gagamela.
Gagamela.
It was one of my favorite episodes by far, and one of my favorites of the whole series. What is it with episode 4s? After the high of that week, I expected the following episodes to keep building momentum as fast as, well, the builders. Instead, the show pumped the brakes a little bit, which is where I had a realization. Season 5 was the first season of The Expanse I watched week to week. I started watching right after Season 3 ended, so I binged those seasons, and when Season 4 came out, I of course binged that too. I was used to storylines wrapping up as quickly as the next episode could autoplay. There were moments in the middle half of the season where I wanted the plot to pick up the pace, but I had to wait patiently. And The Expanse sure loves to take its time, which is its greatest strength and weakness. I almost didn't get through Season 1 because it was pretty slow back then. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking things slow, just ask my ex. When you try to rush things, it often comes at the story's expense. Yes, Game of Thrones Season 8, I am calling you out, and I am still bitter. Not angry, just a little bitter. This is really sweet though. Ocean Spray, hit me up. The middle episodes weren't terrible or poorly done by any means. They included some incredible performances by the lead actors. However, by the time the last couple of episodes aired and the pacing picked up again with the space battles and action sequences I craved, the end credit sequence played before I knew it and the season was over. Now I need to ask myself, am I depressed because I never wanted the season to end? Or was I left wanting more? Because there's a big difference between the two. To answer that question, I need to talk about what actually happened, so this is your final spoiler warning. Part 2, spoiler alert. I had to get a refill because there is so much to talk about here. One of the things that I thought was refreshing about Season 5 was that it split the Rocinante crew up. We've already seen them together for most of the series, and having them go on their separate paths allowed the actors to shine individually. And the character I felt shine the most was Amos. He's already so complex, but Season 5 finally dived deep into his long-teased backstory. The setup felt natural because Amos finds out his mother figure died, and he goes back to Baltimore to settle his unfinished business and confront his past. His relationship with Clarissa, or Peaches, was oddly adorable. And even though, they did go on that killing spree, they all deserved it though. Their dynamic made up for some of the pacing issues. We'll get to them in a second. And their escape from Earth in the penultimate episode was my second favorite of the season. The star of my favorite episode was the Queen of Earth herself, Christian Avasarala. I'm going to be upfront, she is my favorite character and I'm extremely biased. I could listen to her curse like a sailor 24/7. She is and forever will be my UN Secretary General.
She's got a point, she's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
But enough simping, time to be completely objective and purely report the facts here. Avasarala is at her best when she has to fight to get things done, like she did in the earlier seasons, rather than being at the top of the food chain herself. And season 5 begins with her knocked down a peg. Nancy Gao, who beat her in the last election, assigned her to some mediocre position on Luna. When shit hits the fan in the 4th episode, Avasarala knows why the asteroid spotters aren't working. Yet everyone in Gao's cabinet ignores her calls, so she hits up the freaking kitchen staff to get a hold of her just in time before the 3rd asteroid takes down her plane. I rewatched that scene over and over and over again. Because the line of succession is screwed up, the transportation guy becomes the new Secretary General. He's smart enough to select Avasarala for his provisional cabinet. Still, he's out of his league, and he ignores her protests once he, starts committing some war crimes against the belt. After he gets ousted, Avasarala becomes the Secretary General once again, where she belongs. The ending was a little predictable, but I cannot wait to see her take down Marco and Aros. There were actually times where I sympathized with Marco's cause, because he's written so well. Despite recent progress, Earth and Mars spent centuries exploiting the resources and people of the belt. Of course, the solution was killing millions, if not billions of people, but it was easy to see how he could radicalize normie belters like Naomi's old friends. Also, props to the casting department because the chemistry between Marco and Naomi were off the charts. I could really feel that raw pain and betrayal on their faces when they talked to each other. Although Marco was the mastermind of the deadliest terrorist attack in human history, I expected more tricks up his sleeve. His plan to destroy the Rocinante certainly raised the stakes, but it wasn't a vital part of his master plan. It did, granted, make Naomi's life a living hell. We've seen Naomi go to great lengths to never leave anyone behind despite the risks. Her saving that woman who blew up that ship on season 4 but was sorry about it immediately comes to my mind. Yet her decision to leave her son Philip still haunts her, understandably. When she reunites with him, she's determined to help him escape the clutches of his father Marco. Philip, in return, abducts Naomi, his own mother, and brings her to Marco. I was like, girl, this is super admirable and all, but what did you think was going to happen? However, there were moments on Marco's ship where I thought Naomi would turn Philip to the light and he would betray his father somehow. Yet it seems she's too late and he's become a mini Marco. If he got a redemption arc this season, it would have been too fast, and not every character needs one. Stop trying to make every bad guy have a Darth Vader moment. Back to Naomi, when she entered that airlock, it didn't register in my brain what she was about to do. I thought she might actually end it all, and I was about to lose it. After she survived the hard vacuum jump between ships, Dominique Tipper delivers one of her best performances of the entire series. She barely says anything, but the distress she shows is so powerful while she desperately tries to save her friends from Marco's trap. With that said, it got kind of boring watching her go in and out of that airlock. They could have turned the whole thing into a montage like they did with that Amos fight scene in episode 1, and it would have been paced far better. That way we could have spent more time with other characters like Bobby and Alex, for instance. I'm pairing them because they spent most of the season together. Season 4 gave us a glimpse of Martian life, and despite the planet going through an economic depression, I wanted to see more of Mars. Like this restaurant, I need a reservation, like now. I'll even take this Chinese Yeehaw dive bar. Bobby uncovering a whole Martian conspiracy was no easy feat, and I wish they gave us more of her making black market deals and spying on the military elite. I also would have liked if Bobby and Alex were on Mars during Marco's attack so we could have seen how the average Martian citizen reacted. We saw every other perspective from Earth, Luna, the Belt, but only a quick news snippet about Mars. Instead, they were off on the Razorback, and after one quick space battle, they just spent a lot of time traveling to save Naomi, where Alex died during a high G burn. I tried to think of ways his death could have been more interesting, but there wasn't much they could do given the accusations against the actor. Credit to them for doing the right thing. It does show that the crew of the Rocinante isn't invincible, which applies to her captain, James Holden. The Expanse has an ensemble cast, but Holden has always been the heart of the series, mainly because he's taken the role of being the solar system's knight in shining armor. Pulling focus from him was refreshing, but after he lost the protomolecule, he really didn't have much to do other than embarking on a suicide mission to save Naomi. I saw a YouTube comment that he was all of us during lockdown, which is accurate, but not particularly fun to watch. I've seen others suggest this would have been the perfect opportunity to do more with the protomolecule, which took a back seat this season, and I low-key agree. I agree it would have made Holden's story more exciting, but the past few seasons were very protomolecule heavy, especially season 4, so I thought it was nice to have a little break. Still, something should have happened before Drummer saved him. Who's the damsel in distress now? Drummer's story helped provide the Belter perspective we desperately needed. The Belters aren't a monolith, and it was essential to see their different opinions about Marco's Free Navy. The dialogue and debates between Drummer and her Belter space-powered family created some of the season's most intense and wholesome moments. I don't know why, but the scene where they played with bubbles of water brought the biggest smile to my face. We also got the queer representation I've been craving from the show for a while. The Expanse has always been stellar with racial representation, and none of it feels tokenized.
Look at this tableau. Look at this tableau we're watching now. This painting of different colors, different people from all walks of lives, from all over the world. This show is one of the most diversified shows I've ever seen in my life and that I've ever had a chance to work on.
I do think this is maybe the most diverse show on television right now. I don't think there is another show that represents as many different groups of people all in one show, and I'm obviously incredibly proud to be a part of that.
Also, this season when they cast Jacob Mundell as Eric, great name, they went out of their way to find an actor with the character's disability. And I could not imagine anyone else in that role because he was so good. Yet they could be doing a little better with LGBTQ characters, and the show took a step in the right direction. While Drummer didn't have much to do either until the end, the stakes felt higher for her because her decision whether to follow Marco's orders or save Naomi affected whether key characters lived or died. It came at the cost of breaking up her chosen family, but she saved the day in the end. And earned that spot in the trailer thumbnail. I'm still not over how badass she looked. So, with that all said, why was I left wanting more? As I said, I had very high expectations going into season 5. With all the aforementioned hype, I expected a perfect season. And no season is perfect. Nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again. Okay, I'll stop. I think I fell into the same trap some fans of WandaVision did when my wildest theories didn't quite live up to reality. I still haven't watched WandaVision, but I've heard about that conversation. Instead of a perfect season of The Expanse, we just had a fantastic one. And that's a sentence I can't mutter about too many shows. Most of my criticisms are easily fixable and boil down to my personal taste in some instances. I just want every episode to be top-notch because I can probably count on both of these hands how many episodes are left. which I think is the main reason why I'm sad. Part 3. All good things must come to an end. So we've arrived at the elephant in the room. So, I haven't read the Expanse books, but when I heard there were 9 novels planned in the series, I thought if everything went well, we would get 9 seasons. Then, minor spoiler alert I guess, I heard there's roughly a 30-year time jump after book 6, and my reaction was like, oh. Then, on November 24th, 2020, my fears were realized when Amazon announced Season 6 as the final season of The Expanse. Of course, the producers did their song and dance about how this was the plan all along, but we can read between the lines. The Expanse knows all too well what it's like to get canceled prematurely. I discussed in depth its first cancellation by Sci-Fi in my trailer reaction. Despite it gaining more and more popularity each year, it hasn't quite become a mainstream smash hit on the same level as The Mandalorian, for instance. Nor does it necessarily need to become one. I kind of like that it's Sci-Fi's best kept secret, even though the secret is pretty much getting out. But Amazon wants to smash it. It's why it's spending $1 gazillion on this Lord of the Rings show that's supposed to come out this year. They're not going to be like, yeah, we have the boys, so we're good now. Along with the logistics of either aging up with expensive CGI or casting older actors, there's no guarantee we would get a season 7, 8, or 9. Since there is a natural ending in the 6th book, it looks like we're getting an ending, but perhaps not the ending in the books. And as much as I want the show to keep going, I don't blame them for taking this opportunity. So a lot is riding on season 6 to wrap it all up in a satisfying way. I just hope it's worth it because the past few seasons ended on these dramatic cliffhangers, and cliffhangers are only good if the payoff is worth the wait. Luckily, the book authors are still part of the show's production, so I'm less nervous about The Expanse receiving a rushed Game of Thrones style ending. Just realized that's the second time I've referenced Game of Thrones in this video. I promise, I'll make a Game of Thrones video at some point, just wait until House of the Dragon. The writer said the story could continue in some form after the series finale. Might I suggest a spin-off series, or maybe a trilogy of movies? This might also give me the kick in the pants to finally read the books, but I'm in a predicament where I don't want the books to spoil the show for me. Dune and Foundation are currently higher on my priority list anyway, especially since my Dune trailer reaction is my highest viewed video on this channel. It was my first video, but it still holds up in my opinion. Go watch it. No matter where The Expanse shovels off to, I'll document all my thoughts on this channel. I'll be coming out with more reviews, video essays, and trailer reactions, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of them. Also, give this video a like so I know if I did a good job, and leave me a comment telling me what you thought about The Expanse Season 5. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you soon with brand new videos.